So I just got done filming what was in the back of the truck from last night's haul, and that's got to end up back here as well. So it is long past time to start cleaning this stuff out. Got my helper here. I think after I clear all this out, I'm probably going to have enough to do a non-ferrous run, and then I can figure out what the prices finally are these days. I don't hold on to it waiting for prices to go up. I just turn it in as it evolves, because otherwise I just lose too much space, and this is the only area that I keep all my scrap other than my shred, which stays out front. So down there I got a bunch of motors, and then all of my stuff here, I've got various stages of wire, various types of wire, clean aluminum, cast aluminum, dirty aluminum, and stainless. Those are all the boards that I still don't know what I'm going to do with, and other just non-ferrous type sorting that I have to go through here, as well as some flea market stuff. But I'm running out of buckets, and I'm running out of space, more importantly, so I need to start sorting all this stuff. Under there is all aluminum sheet from a dumpster couple of weeks ago, actually, and then this is all stuff that I need to break down even further, and all this stuff here. So it's going to rain in the next couple of days. I'd like to get it done before then, see what I actually got, and show you some of the process along the way. And then if there's anything interesting, I'll go through that as well, but more than likely it'll just be a lot of time elapse. But here's some electronics that really isn't worth anything, so I'm going to go ahead and break all that down as well. I might show one or two of those, and that's about it. So I've got some sorting to do. I think first thing I'm going to do is clear out this whole area, set it over here so I know what I'm looking at, and then just start going at it one by one. So as I'm going through stuff, some of these things I'll hit just to make sure that they're brass and not just die cast or aluminum cast. The grinder sits out here all the time, so just turn on the power, get this thing going. And that there is just either die cast or aluminum cast. That there's brass along with that. That's actually brass, so this is pretty light. I thought it would be aluminum, but that is brass. And that is just die cast. So some of it was brass and some of it was not. So this here, it looks like it's brass just because of the color, but it is in fact just aluminum. And then this here is something that I decided to test because somebody commented when I took apart from the air purifier, the slats that were in there and whether or not they were stainless as well as the outer walls. So I went ahead and hit those with the grinder, and they're all actually aluminum. They weren't stainless. So this is the only amount of brass that I ended up with. I like having my buckets here because I can just throw things in as I'm going through them. This is where I'll do a lot of my sorting, and then everything can just get thrown in here. My brass and copper I actually keep behind a locked door, because if somebody's going to take something, that's probably going to be that stuff there. But yeah, I've got a long way to go, so this was just the start, but I wanted to show you the grinding action just because I do test and make sure that everything is what it is before I turn it in. So something that I've learned is that these transformers that plug into the wall, so the large ones, what I'll do is I'll open these because they've got screws in them. I've tried turning these in bulk, and I can't remember the explanation, but they tried to tell me that these would get even less than shred price and that I would only get like 1 or 2 cents a pound for these. However, if I open them up, this makes no sense whatsoever, and remove the copper, which is the weight of pretty much the entire thing, minus this plastic, which doesn't even weigh that much compared to this. But if I turn these in like this, now I get 30 cents a pound. So makes 0 sense. I don't know why they do what they do. I've talked to them a couple times about it, but that's what I do. And so I've got a few here accumulated. I'll just go ahead and empty these out. These are kind of a pain to get completely out, so I'll just twist the top portion off. That's brass. Sometimes I'll do this, other times I won't. I mean, the weight of that is really not anything. It does accumulate over time, but I just don't have that many of them to really make a difference. But I pop them off since there's only a few. So that's what I'm going to do here. And then actually this here I can take off. That's weighs nothing as well, but that can be aluminum breakage. And then just zip off the board here and turn that in. Taking a break from doing all the sorting, I decided to try to take these apart. And so these are what I guess you attach the lines to form a queue. But I have 3 of these plus an aluminum one over there. And I decided to take one apart just to see how much of it was actually brass. So there was a rod that went through the bottom and a plate at the bottom as well, which is all steel. So that's all magnetic. But what I was left with were these 3 pieces and this. So ended up coming out to £7, so 21 pounds of solid brass altogether, a little bit more. It's not too bad for just finding those in the dumpster. There's really no reason to try to sell these. They're kind of dinged up at the bottom, not in the best of shape, and I'm really not sure who would pay to have a brass one, because I'd want to at least get the value of the brass out of it. So for that reason, I'm taking them all apart and turning them in to just brass recycling. The next day, and I got most of this stuff cleared out that was here. So I worked into the dark hours last night, just trying to sort out as much as I could. I'm starting to stage stuff for either a shred run or a non-ferrous run. That Porter cable box that I found a few videos ago, there's actually value in that, and I might flip some of that stuff on eBay. All the trays someone might be buy for later today, or those are going to be flea market items. In here, I've still got a lot of sorting to do. I'm about to test all the light bulbs and see if these actually work. So I've already tried a couple of these and they seem to all be in workable condition, but I'll go ahead and go through them all. I'll probably keep them for my own use for the ones that do work. Buckets are starting to fill up. I've got my motors and transformers and ballast and everything here that I'll pull to put on the truck. That whole thing in there, that is #1 wire that I will strip. All the smaller stuff I throw into another container and turn it in with the casings on. Here's a lot of aluminum shred. I actually get paid different for siding, a little bit more than I do for aluminum sheet. And as you can see, I've got some of that aluminum that I found in the open top here in these containers, and there's a lot more under here. Still breaking down a few more things here. I've got the electronics to break down, the computer monitor, and then I've got some wire over there and some probably Habitat stuff there. So this is one of my worst things that I like doing. I need to get a Sawzall, and then I zip all these off, and then after I zip off this magnetic steel here, I will go ahead and collect all these little copper pieces as #2 copper, and then I fold up the radiator and bring that in as is. So I've still got a lot of work to do today, and it's going to be a warm one, up to 70 degrees today. It's kind of crazy to think about, but it is February in North Carolina. I'll take it. So I'm going to go ahead and get at it. I'm going to start with getting all these light bulbs taken care of. all the lights that I tested, they actually all worked. None of them were blown, so I'm going to go ahead and stick those inside. I'll keep them because we do use floodlights. Most of the stuff back here has been cleaned up, minus a couple of items back there. So all these electronics, I've looked them up on eBay, and even though a few of them are being listed, nothing's really sold in the past 3 months, so I'm not going to hang on to this stuff. I'll take them apart real quick on camera. I'm not going to go into all the types of parts on the boards or anything like that. I'll just show you what's inside quick. But even, yeah, this VHS recorder, that was $20, I think one sold for, but for that it's not worth the time and effort to test it, pack it, push it out the door. It's just not worth it to me. So for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and just disassemble all this real quick. I'll just show you what is inside of all these. Now, I think I got to take these two out. So I'll cut the cord off, something like this. I'll take the copper parts out of this. This is going to be surrounded by magnetic, probably some kind of steel. And then this here, I forget exactly what these are called, but this is some kind of pressed powdered metal or some kind of solid substance here that has copper wrapped around it. So what I'll go ahead and do is probably break that apart and then take the copper out of it, and then I'll also pull these here. As for the rest of this, probably e-waste bin would take some of these items and whatnot. I'll cut the wire off of them. There's nothing really here for me to struggle with, to deal with. So that is that. So that was a Burl, what was this, a pan and tilt zoom lens controller. So not too much going on in there. This here, I do believe that some of these parts are going to be, actually it's all aluminum case, so that is going to be nice. All right. Oh, wow. Okay. Let's get out a bit that can deal with the small screws. Yeah, I looked this up and I couldn't find anything. It could be a really expensive unit for all I know, but I have no way of testing it. Guess I could have sold it as parts or something, but sometimes you just want stuff out of your hair. So not a whole lot going on with this board. That'll be taken off, and then I'll take the aluminum. Bunch of cards. I don't know if these pull out of the other way or... Well, let's keep taking it apart. Okay, so that's going to be all aluminum. That I will sell as aluminum sheet, more aluminum sheet. So this will be aluminum sheet. This piece here actually will be aluminum extrusion. Get a bit more for that. And this here. Okay, so I'll take all the plastic out of this, and then that'll be more aluminum extrusion in this. These are all plastic. And then we've got all these, which are all screwed in. Oh, no, they pop right out. So some kind of, it's like a slot card, but I'll look these up. I don't know if there's any value here, if that would be considered mid-grade board or what. So a lot of this stuff I should just be throwing into shred, but those two burn barrels and an entire tote over there is full of motherboards, medium grade boards, low grade boards. So these actually have gold fingers on them. So that would probably be a medium grade board. And Yeah, I don't know, you know, with the rest of this other stuff. I watch you guys spend all the time, but I still can't remember what's what. So I guess there might be some value here. I did have a reason to be up a few states away last year, and not too far from there was a place that bought all this type of stuff, but I never got around to actually taking them in to sell them, which might have been a huge mistake because I was getting paid to go up there, and I probably could have benefited a lot by taking this stuff up that way. So this one's kind of heavy. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, like this here, that's aluminum, so I'll take the aluminum off the back. Not sure what I'm going to do with all those. So aluminum extrusion, probably just all shred material. That board really doesn't have a whole lot going on. And then this here will be the power pack. My yard does not pay for power packs, so I'll strip this whole thing down, take out the copper and any of the little motors and things like that. Otherwise, I'm just paid 8.5 cents a pound. That's about 15 pounds. That's right there. So I'll go ahead and strip that down. So that is that. And then this here, color multiplexer. I don't think there's probably going to be too much going on inside this thing. That is all plastic with a board inside of it, so I'm probably just going to throw that whole thing into shred. There might be brass in there though, so I might take it apart and pull that stuff out. A couple more screws on the back. Probably not even worth taking this thing apart. My guess is, yeah. So this board, I'll probably take off some of these. These are just aluminum breakage, and I don't know, maybe a medium grade board. So I'll pluck that off and keep it, but the entire case is steel. And then I'm only going to take apart one of these on camera. So all your buttons are back there. So inside here, it's where your tape goes, and then it retracts back. But yeah, other than, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, that's aluminum. That's an aluminum housing. There's your power supply. I'll probably take that apart, cut off some of the wire. This board underneath here is probably going to be a low-grade board. So yeah, that is pretty much it. I'm not going to disassemble this whole thing. There's really not a whole lot to extrapolate from this. It's just all low-grade steel or board. So that's that. That is everything. I think I'm going to end the video here. I still do need to cut that apart and take this apart. So this here, very little non-ferrous stuff going on. If this is stainless, it's magnetic stainless, and my yard doesn't deal with that. They're just going to throw that into shred. So I'll take off the aluminum ends, the cord, and anything else that is non-magnetic. So that is pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead, might take apart that too, and start stacking this stuff to take into the small scales. And in a separate video, I'll probably do a price update of what I'm getting in this area for all the non-ferrous materials. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you later.